This question comes from Daniel, who asks, what would actually happen if every price tag on Earth dropped to zero overnight? I was sort of surprised to find that it would only take about 12 hours for the shelves to be completely empty. The principle here is pretty counterintuitive. If everything is free, you'd think everyone gets everything they want. Nobody loses. But if everyone can take as much as they want, nobody has any reason to leave anything for anyone else. So, the question isn't whether people would take things, it's how fast. The first question we have to answer is, how much stuff is actually sitting on shelves right now, waiting to be grabbed? The average American grocery store holds about 30,000 different products. Sounds like a lot. But the total weight of perishable food in a typical store, the meat, the dairy, the produce, is about 40,000 pounds. That runs out in 3 days. In economics, the relationship between what people want and what's actually available is called scarcity. Prices exist to manage it. They're the quiet, invisible reason you don't grab 12 gallons of milk on a random Tuesday. If there's not much available, and too many people wanting it, things disappear fast. Remove prices, and you remove the only thing standing between a calm Tuesday and a Black Friday stampede. Except, this one never ends. There are a lot of things people suddenly want when the cost drops to zero, but the essentials are fuel, food, and medicine. At 6 a.m., gas stations would be the first to go. A tank of gas that cost $60 yesterday now costs nothing. Lines start forming before sunrise. By 8 a.m., most stations in major cities are completely dry. By mid-morning, grocery stores look like a disaster zone. Not because anything was destroyed, because everything was taken. The United States moves about 55,000 truckloads of food per day. That number sounds massive. But that's not a stockpile, that's a flow. It arrives, it sells, more arrives. The moment people start grabbing 3 or 4 times what they normally would, and they will because, why wouldn't you? The math breaks within hours. The severity of a supply crisis depends on 2 things. 1, how fast demand spikes, and 2, how fast supply can respond. In our scenario, demand goes to infinity and supply drops to 0, because nobody is showing up to work. If everything is free, that includes labor. Your paycheck is now worth exactly what everything else is worth. Nothing. There is no financial reason to drive to work tomorrow morning or the morning after that. Let's assume some people show up anyway out of habit. Which, if you've ever seen how fast people stop going to the gym in February, is a generous assumption, but let's go with it. About 70% of the US economy is driven by consumer spending. But spending requires prices. Prices require money. And money just became meaningless. The entire engine doesn't slow down. It stops. So, what does all this mean for a civilization? A single neighborhood might hold together for a day or 2 on goodwill. People show up to work out of routine. The nurse still drives to the hospital. The trucker still finishes his route. But one neighborhood isn't a civilization any more than one light bulb is a power grid. The problem is that every system depends on every other system. If truckers stop, stores go empty. If stores go empty, people panic. If people panic, hospitals get overwhelmed. They need more medicine, more staff. But the nurses stop showing up. It's not safe to leave their kids home alone. The shipments don't arrive, the trucker already stopped. At this point, it's clear where we're headed. After 1 day, fuel's gone in most cities. After 3 days, grocery stores are stripped to bare shelves. After 1 week, supply chains are fully broken. After a month, the only food available is what people can grow, hunt, or trade for directly. But the collapse wouldn't stay local because we have another problem: infrastructure. Power plants need operators around the clock. Water treatment requires chemicals and trained technicians. The internet runs on servers that need cooling, electricity, and regular physical maintenance. Cell towers need diesel generators when the grid fails. None of these systems are automated enough to last more than about 72 hours without human intervention. After 2 weeks, rolling blackouts start. Water pressure drops in major cities. Cell networks go dark, in rural areas first, then suburbs, then everywhere. Within a month, you're not living in a modern economy anymore. You're living in a barter system with smartphones that don't turn on. This has actually happened. When the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, the ruble became so worthless that factory workers were getting paid in vegetable oil and cigarettes. 280 million people had jobs, skills, farmland, and still nearly starved. Not because anything was destroyed, but because their effort wasn't being rewarded the way it should have been. So we've answered Daniel's question: if everything became free overnight, civilization would start to unravel within days. Not because of greed, but because of math. The only thing holding it all together isn't oil or wheat or power plants. It's the quiet agreement that your effort is worth something. Take that away, and everyone just stops, wondering why they even got out of bed.